All right, what's up, everybody? That's right, the Boxing Source checking in here once again. This is another version or another insert of Raising the Scales. And we got, of course, our boy here, Greg Scales, to chime in on a few topics here in the sport of boxing. And we're going to be, talking about a few things here. So we'll get his take on them. First off, we, want to check out what's going on. Be next weekend, big fight coming up, undisputed super middleweight championship. Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo. And, of course, Jermell Charlo is there as the undisputed super welterweight champion going up two divisions to face Canelo Alvarez. And one of the main questions out there for this is, has Canelo Alvarez kind of like lost a step, or is he on the back end of his career? And is this the opportunity for Jermell Charlo to become a two division undisputed champion and kind of like make himself one of those guys that could be one of the top pound for pound fighters in the sport? So, what's your take on this particular fight coming up?
Interesting matchup. I don't think Canelo, you know, has really lost a step. I think he's been looking for the easy way out as far as thinking he's going to get a championship. But I really have Canelo. I pick Canelo to win the fight. I really do. I just think that skill wise, he's still one of the best in the game. You know what I mean? It's like you always have to, worry about if it's the young guy's turn to reign supreme. I feel like he's not even. His brother should have been the one to get the title at. I mean, get the shot at Canelo. You know what I mean? I
Mm.
don't feel like he's really deserving. You jumping up two weight classes, man. That's sort of unheard of unless you on that. That's that Pacquiao stuff, right? I mean, I just feel like that Canelo will win this fight. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, you had Jamel Charlo basically get the opportunity after Jamal Charlo. It seemed like he was going to get it, but they didn't necessarily have him basically cleared. For him to be able to get into a full camp and have the bout against Canelo Alvarez. So they just basically said, "All right, we'll go ahead and have your brother get this opportunity here for September, and then maybe revisit." That with Jamal Charlo next year. But with Jamel, I mean, he himself hasn't really been in the ring for a while either. It's been over a year since his bout where he won that super welterweight title or undisputed super welterweight title there when he defeated Brian Carlos Castaño. So he's coming off of surgery himself, but at least both of them are. Canelo said that he had some work that he had to do with his hand and stuff like that, and so did Jamel Charlo. So I guess both of these fighters are coming off injuries for this bout coming up September 30th. But outside of that, I think it's going to be something where either we see if Canelo, as he claims, is quote unquote 100% or not. I think that of course, him being used to the big stage, he don't have to worry about all that. But with Jamel Charlo there, this is his first bout as far as like being in a major pay per view event. So we'll have to see how he performs in that type of a stage.
I feel like Canelo's doing what he always does, right? Canelo Canelo looks for the easiest big name opponent that he can face, right? And it somewhat gives him merit if he wins, right? I mean, like I say, the better Charlo brother is training with Roy Jones now, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's the guy who really deserved the fight, but they say he was what mentally um he's not there right now. So I mean, I feel like you fighting a Charlo, but you fighting the easier version of the Charlo brothers. I really feel like the other Charlo brother could have gave him a really good fight, a really good fight. But I feel like this one here, I really feel like Canelo's gonna pretty much have his way with him.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's two weight classes that he's coming up, and I think they deal with different gloves or different size gloves. Once you get north of 154 pounds too, so that's another thing that Jermell Charlo has to deal with. But on the thing with Jermall Charlo, like he's done some work with Roy Jones, but I think he's still with his main trainer there, Coach Ronnie Shields over in Houston. That's close to his hometown and everything like that. So, I've kind of heard that Jermall Charlo could be in the works of getting back in the ring sometime in November. So, if that is the case, then maybe we'll be able to see like where Jermall Charlo is at this particular point, and then after that, maybe he does get a fight with Canelo later on down the line. But moving forward, you have what's next up is an announcement that took place around a week or so ago. Shakur Stevenson will be fighting for the WBC lightweight title against Edwin De Los Santos. And last time we talked, we thought it was going to be Shakur Stevenson versus Frank Martin, but there are a number of things that kind of like happened along the way that had that fight be basically scrapped, and so now it's going to be Shakur Stevenson seeing if he could get a world title in another division against Edwin De Los Santos, who is one of those guys that has a very good record, but for some people they don't feel like he's like aesthetically pleasing enough for it to be like a competitive bout against someone like Shakur Stevenson. So that bout coming up November 16th, man. What are your thoughts about that fight being made?
I feel like Shakur, you know, I never like to say take a guy, an easy fight, but I really think this is an easy fight for Shakur. The fight that everybody was wanting to see, the Martin fight, would have been a much better fight. Shakur pretty much did to Martin the way he said Devin Haney did him, right? It's like, yeah, I don't want to get in a purse bid of who should have got this and that, but at least you gotta make it worth the guy's while to want to take the risk. He said $1 million. He's never made that type of money before. He's only made what 250,000 or so like that. But still, at the end of the day, I guess that young man is looking at his cut of the purse, right? But I really was wanting to see the Martin fight. I thought it really would have been interesting. This fight right here, I think is just a stepping stone for Shakur. I think he'll win the fight fairly easy, and then hopefully. Now he told one of my partners who was just at the Nationals that him and Tank will be fighting next year, sometime next year, right? So hopefully, um, this is sort of a tune-up type fight just to stay active. So we should see him and Tank. He said no later than summer of next year.
Hmm. Well, as far as like the current bout coming up, I've seen Shakur Stevenson in the ring live in his last bout that he had against Shoichiro Yoshino in Newark, and the Edwin De Los Santos fight that he had in July against Joseph Adorno, and of course Shakur Stevenson scored a stoppage victory, while Edwin De Los Santos scored like a shutout victory, but the De Los Santos fight just really didn't kind of like have that much excitement behind it. So of course, we wanted to see where we would be at for Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin. That would have definitely been a much better fight. But that just ended up working out. As far as like that particular plan for Shakur Stevenson to fight Tate Davis summer of next year, I mean I could see that happening. That could I think that they're kind of setting things up to see if you can have that super fight take place next year. But we have to have a few things happen within that particular division, because I think that could either be for in a unification or for the undisputed title there at 135 pounds. Now, moving to the last topic here, there was some word about the potential rematch taking place between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. Number of folks said it would call it be in December, but there were some stipulations added to the thing for the rematch. One of them was in reference to the weight that
Yeah.
the fight would be at. You know, now of course, multiple times it was mentioned by Errol Spence that he wanted the rematch at 154 pounds, and that he felt like it was something to try to work down to get to 147. Now, while Terrence Crawford had mentioned, at least immediately after the fight that, he could have that rematch at 154. Now there's word that he wants to go forward. If he wants to go forward with this fight, that it would be at 147 pounds. So I don't know. Maybe it's something where, they kind of like to have another conflict here before this fight could take place, or it's something where, hey, maybe we could do this or add a little bit more incentive in order for this fight to work out. But at least for me, I just don't think that Errol Spence will be able to make 147 pounds for this potential upcoming rematch. So, what do you think about it? And should they just go forward with the rematch or just move on?
At this point, I think that they should just move on. I really do. I really don't think the fight is going to sell the way that they think it will. I don't think that a lot of us will really want to see it again, especially not right away.
Mm-hmm.
What I saw with Terrence was saying basically contractually that the fight it should be at 147. There was nothing in the contract about 154, right? So I mean, I'm pretty sure he's gonna stick to the 147. I mean, and then he has other options. That's gonna also probably give him a way out, right? Where he can say, look, either you do it at 147 or it's no fight, because that's what the contract states, right? So if that's the case, then I could see Terrence fighting somebody else, but I would much rather see Earl come back and get a win, look pretty decent, and then go from there. But I really think that it's just something else to prolong the fight a little bit longer. But I really don't want to see it again, especially not right away, not this soon.
Yeah, the thing about it is, for me, I kind of look at things from a financial business perspective. And, the first fight, while it looked like it was pretty good as far as like how many people were interested in it, it still, didn't get at least I feel like it didn't get as much bias as it should have. So moving forward, given how much money it probably took to try to make that first fight possible, with this second fight, if they're asking around for that same price range, that might make things difficult for the fight just to take place, regardless of what the contract stipulations are. But when it comes to those details, as far as like the rematch and what rate it was going to be at, I thought it was like pretty much in the contract that the winner could control what weight class it would be at. So with Terrence Crawford being the winner, it looks like he wants to, have that fight at 147. But, with that being said, if Errol Spence moves on, then Terrence Crawford really, I don't know about how many options he has there left. So because it does look like he's leaning towards fighting Boots Ennis or Keith Thurman, or those guys at 147, and he's looking to see what happens with Jermell-Charlo to see if they can fight at 154. But if Jermell-Charlo ends up winning, then that kind of like takes that out of the picture. So then what does that leave Terrence Crawford here at this point? So yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens there in that particular instance, but maybe they'll be able to work things out here within the next few weeks or so. But outside of that, it just looks like trouble here once again, man. But big ups to you coming in here to chime in on those topics, and we'll be able to catch up later for more here on Raising the Scales.
All right, brother, no problem.
All right, for sure.